Okay. Hi, it's Rachel again from Shades of Blue Interiors. I'm in tutorial mode today. I said that really funny. And I am going to show you how to paint, prep and paint with chalk paint a piece of furniture. This is my husband's nightstand, and so I figured it was a perfect time to show you how I paint. So the first thing is prep work. You're going to want to remove the drawers, each piece, and at this point you're going to want to also remove the hardware. Now this hardware in particular I'm not going to remove because I'm not going to paint the drawer fronts. I'm going to leave it a two-tone look. But when you remove it, you also get a chance to see the bones of your dresser or your nightstand or whatever it is if it has drawers. And the bones are basically like the structure and how it's all put together. And I always like to push on all the sides to make sure nothing's loose, wiggle anything, to make sure it's structurally sound, because this is the point when I'm going to make any repairs. If something needs to be glued or put back into place or supported somewhere, this is when I'm going to do it. Also, if I see any nicks or gouges in the top, there's a couple here, I don't really care if they're there. I'm fine. I think it adds character, but sometimes it interferes with the overall finished look that I'm trying to achieve, so then I'd fill it in with wood filler. At this time, you also, if your drawers are loose, like the backs and stuff, you want to glue them and clamp them. If you have a piece that's really shiny, this one isn't, but if you have a piece that's really shiny or has a good amount of lacquer on it or varnish or something, you're going to want to rough it up. And most people will say, oh no, you don't need a prep or anything with chalk paint, which is true. Technically you don't. It will adhere. But I have found, with three small children, the pieces that I put a little extra time into making sure they have a little bit of tooth on the piece so that the paint has something to adhere onto a little bit better, they are more durable in the long run. So I always, if something is pretty shiny, I don't go crazy, but I just rough it up a little bit so that it just gives it a little bit of more of a tooth. To get started, you're going to want to make sure your paint is upside down for about 10 minutes. And the reason being is there's all kinds of minerals and stuff in chalk paint that need to come all the way down, because they're kind of what makes give the paint some body and the thickness that it has. So you're going to go like this, and then you're going to shake it after it's been sitting for a while. Once it's open, you just make sure that it looks like it's all evenly shaken up. And this is pure white. That's the two-tone look I'm going through. I'm doing pure white and leaving the drawers natural. And I like to use purdy brushes, and I'm just happy with the 2-inch purdies. And don't ever dip your brush in more than about that much. Here's the max here. I'll show you. That's the max you want to dip your brush in. Don't dip it all the way in here. Nobody paints like this. You're never going to use it. It's just waste. So just dip it in about this far. I always hold it like this, like I hold a pencil. It gives me better control. This is how I hold the wax brush. And they just start, and this is a hand-painted look. So don't worry about oh, it has to be completely smooth. I don't worry about that. I just paint here because I'm creating a one-of-a-kind artistic piece of furniture. I want to get the paint on there as quickly as possible, so I don't worry about going in a smooth direction. And I think it looks cooler when you have kind of a paint in all different directions look. Okay, I'm back. I had to change my shirt because it's really hot today. I painted the whole thing, and I will show this to you in just a second, but unfortunately there is some stain bleeding through, and so we're going to have to remedy that. Also, when you walk away from painting a project, I put mine in a Ziploc bag, but if you're going to walk away for the whole night, you can put it in the fridge. And I had a friend tell me about this, and I laughed at her. I thought it was a ridiculous idea. And then I saw somebody else do it, and I was like, well, maybe I should try this. So I did, and it actually does last longer. Like it, or the brush doesn't dry out as fast, and I'm guessing it's because there's less evaporation in the fridge because it's colder. I'm guessing, but it actually does work. So if people tell you some tips, it might be a good idea to try them before you laugh at them. But I'm not going to pull that out yet because I need to show you the bleed through. It's most unfortunate. Okay, do you see the uneven tone here? There's like white spot and then yellowish, and then it's pretty much horrible because you can see the ring marks from the stains that were there earlier. And as we go down, you can see how yellow, well, pure white is not supposed to be this yellow. It is a lot of stain coming through. So how you fix that, bullseye shellac clear. And you can paint this right on top. So I like to do it after the first coat so I can see the areas that are having bleed through issues. And I use a chip brush because shellac requires denatured alcohol to clean it, and I personally find that a huge pain, especially when it's like a 25-cent brush. So I'm going over the areas that have bleed through. And the really nice thing about shellac is that it only takes like 5 minutes to dry. Ah! Splattered. It only takes about 5 minutes to dry, so it's really fast. And then you can paint right on top of it. And if there's, for like some rare instance that it bleeds through that, then you can just repeat the process. And I've never had it bleed through more than 2 coats of shellac. So, all right, happy news. The shellac worked. I put a coat of shellac over the entire thing, and I did another full coat of pure white, and there is no more bleed through. And I'm gonna show you to prove it. Okay, can you see? No more yellow stains. Those are the 2 marks I was telling you about that I don't mind that they're there. If I did mind, I'd put wood filler, but I don't mind. And you can see there's no more yellow. No more yellow. At this point, I will distress it and wax it, which that will actually be a tutorial for another day. But that is the basics of how to paint a piece of furniture with Annie Sloan chalk paint and overcoming the obstacle of having the bleed through. So if you have bleed through stains, then now you know what to do. Thanks.